Hey yo, what's good? I'm gonna be telling you the time I got tricked into prison. Yeah, I know, I'm an idiot. Back in the youngin' days of your boy, during spring break, I could only play video games on a weekend and it was sad. Whenever I was in school, I would hear the other guys laughing and talking about how much fun they had. Then when I got home, I would stay in my room all day watching YouTubers play the same games and having a whole lot of fun. Until one day, I had enough. So it's finally a Saturday and I'm hyped that I'm finally gonna have some fun. I turn on the game and join the same friend's party and it was toxic. Because I can only play games on the weekend, I wasn't very good. They did not like that. Imagine a Call of Duty lobby, but all the insults were pointed at one man. Yeah, it was that bad. But after a certain point, I had enough and turned off the game. I was so mad that I chose to take a walk. While walking through my neighborhood, I saw a poster on the building and it caught my eye. I went up to it and it read exactly this. Are you tired of being unsuccessful? Are you trying to figure out why you're stuck where you're at? Have you reached a down point in your life where you feel like there's no hope? So why are you still reading this? You need to be on your computer or on your cell phone applying at the site below for greatness. You're missing out. Get your life together. It was a poster for boot camp at some far place with pictures of people in military gear working out. After reading that motivational message, I was instantly ready to join. I took the poster and ran home to go sign up. When I told my mom about the decision, she was not with the idea at first. But I told her that the only way she was gonna have grandkids is if I go to this boot camp. She immediately changed her mind and agreed and helped me gather everything I needed. Fast forward and my mom dropped me off at the hotel. At the time, the only thing that was on my mind was becoming those people on social media who got their hearts broken and then went to the gym and became built. Skip forward the check-in process, seeing all the other people, putting my stuff in a room and sleeping. It's the next day and I'm at breakfast finishing my food. One of the military soldiers introduced himself and then guided us to the bus. He told us that the plan was to take the bus to the airport so that we can fly over to the military base. Me and the rest of the people got into the bus. As I was about to pull out my phone, all of a sudden, some gas went off and I passed out. I woke up and I saw that I was in a small room with bars. Then out of nowhere, I hear someone on a megaphone telling me to report a roll call while the bars are opening. A bodyguard came in and forced me to the main hall. At the main hall, I saw the people from the hotel and a whole lot of other people. The room was huge with a boxing ring in the middle and multiple others around it. There was also a stage with a couple of fat old people looking down at us. One of the old men explained the situation. He said to us that this wasn't a military, it was an underground fight club. He said that he brought us here so that we can give him a show and that we are going to box each other and they're going to gamble on the fights for the rest of our lives. One of the prisoners tried to tell him that he was not going to be a part of it, but as he was about to finish, he got dropped, shot, and popped. Then the bodyguards lined us up at the opposite sides of the boxing ring and made us go one-on-one with the other side. As the line was moving up, I got a better look and saw that the match ends when somebody gets knocked out. And as soon as you know it, it's my turn and I'm facing a titan. Prior to that day, I hadn't fought a day in my life. I tried charging at him hoping that I unlocked some sort of power boost like a Super Saiyan, but I immediately got knocked out with a right hook to the dome. I later woke up in my prison cell with my head spinning. I was so upset that I ended up punching a wall and immediately regretting it. Then all of a sudden, I heard someone telling me to chill. In so much rage and sadness, I told him that they had us in the Matrix and there was no escape. But after hearing me out, he told me something so real that I couldn't help but to feel better. To this day, I will never forget what he told me. He said, power isn't determined by your size, but the size of your heart and dreams. I instantly got up and was ready to fight. He told me his name was Michael and that the general said that anyone who wins 100 fights in a row will be released. There's only been one guy in the whole entire history of that fight club who made it to 100 fights. After winning the fights, nobody saw him since. So that most likely meant that the general kept his word on that one. Michael then told me that his new plan is to train me, put me onto his fighting style that worked effectively for him. Then we're both gonna box the other prisoners until we reach 100 wins. So that when we reach 100 wins, if the general tries something sneaky, we will stop him considering we beat 100 men. At the time, I was so determined because of that quote that I agreed, and surprisingly, the plan went beautifully. His secret fighting style was effective and I was able to get wins after wins. Skip forward 6 months and I done learned so much about the prison and just who I am as a person, as well as my fighting ability and my physical physical attributes. So we finished our last matches and the general calls us both to his office. We looked at each other and already knew the plan. We got to his office and once we got in, the door shut right behind us. Then out of nowhere, a cyborg busted out the wall. Michael pointed out that he was the man who won 100 fights. The general then said that we will be joining him in being his personal slaves. Right after that, the cyborg charges at us. He dodged out the way and I tried to punch him, but it seemed to have no effect on him. Michael picked up a brick and threw it at the cyborg's eyes. The cyborg's eyes started to spark and I straight away knew the plan. While the general was standing there laughing like a maniac, I kicked the cyborg again to gain his attention and ran to the general. When he charged at me again, I rolled out the way and he ended up grabbing the general. While the general was getting choked, trying to get the remote controller out of his pocket, he accidentally dropped it and I was there to pick it up. I pressed every button on that remote and the whole building started shaking. I ran outside and saw all the doors open to the outside world. The prisoners were booking it out the building and we joined right after them. Once we got out, we saw two of the prisoners robbing someone out their car. Michael and I ran up to them, knocked them both out, took their car, and drove up out of there. Skip forward a quiet ride and he drove me to the front of my house to drop me off. I thanked him for everything he did for me and he thanked me for helping him escape from that prison. I dapped him up and we went our separate ways. During that spring break, I was so excited to go back to school with all my abs and muscles. But then the next day, my mom comes back home with an unlimited free food card at KFC for a whole month. I ended up gaining all the weight back when I got back to school. All in all, my stories are for the greater good of humanity. If the younger generation don't do or become better than us, then we will fail as a whole and be doomed for eternity. For life. Anyways, the moral of the story is to always keep in mind that a security guard cannot prevent a refrigerator from falling off a building. So always make sure to look both ways before crossing the street. Be careful.